Good morning, good morning. It is Wednesday, so you know we're doing what to wear Wednesdays today. We're going to be talking about uh, your shoes and what you're standing on. So we're going to talk about briefly some of the intros into what we're going to be talking about over the next week. So I did want to talk to you about your souls and the soul of a man and the importance of you making sure your soul is solid, making sure your soul is something that you can stand on, and also making sure that your soul is going to be in a space where you're aware of how you're going to be aware of each step that you're taking. If it's first time here, please make sure that you stick around. Hit that like button if you're enjoying the information that I'm providing for you, and make sure you subscribe. Share this with your friends, because it's going to be a deeper awareness and a deeper interaction of how your style is going to align with your identity and your image. So today we're going to be talking briefly about the encompassment of those shoes. So yesterday we started Taylor Thought Tuesdays with the understanding of what your shoes were going to represent, how those shoes were going to be standing on, and some of the effects of how you were going to wear those shoes and express yourself. So today I wanted to talk to you about when it comes to what to wear, not only the social ramifications or the social communications, but also the consciousness elements that are going to be embodied in the foundation of your ensemble. So when you step out, um, you have to make sure that you are paying attention to three things. Number one, and the most important, is going to be who you are. So again, for me, I tend to be a very colorful, whimsical dude, and so for me, a lot of things that I'm always projecting want to have a certain level of feeling to them. I always want people to literally feel me. That doesn't necessarily mean that they have to touch me. You can still feel something visually. You can feel something aromatically. You can feel something even tastefully, right? And so for me, I tend to enjoy very sensual things. So a lot of my dress shoes tend to be suede. Now I know a lot of people say, "Oh, you should have, leather pieces, and uh, you should have your black brogues and all those different types of things," which has relevance to it. For me personally, because of my thought process, I just I've always kind of been conditioned by my mentors to grab suede. Now again, if it rains or there's any weather related issues, that can be a huge issue. That's why I buy some suede protectant. But in general, I do understand why a lot of people say you should get a few leather shoes for that benefit. But in that space, even my leather shoes still have a contrast to them on some level. The front may have a blackened polish on it so that there is difference in the color that you see. And so because of these things, everything tends to be much more vibrant. It tends to be much more intense, and that's kind of how I am. I'm a very passionate individual, but it's subtle. It's still a very subtle space that is not going to overpower you. So you got to figure out who you are. Are you a very by the book type of person? If so, you're going to make sure that your clothing is by the book, but that foundational principle needs to be there. So you may start out with a whole cut blue tree. You may start out with a loafer, a nice cap toe loafer, because those are the most conservative ways that you can go, and that's fine. That's dope, because that's where you're starting your foundational expression of who you are and your character. The next thing that you're gonna have to pay attention to is where you're going, both literally and also figuratively, in the sense of where your vision is for your life. So the first thing that you have to pay attention to is where you're going for the day. Are you going to handle business, or is it a casual experience? And if so, then you want to make sure that you are dressing yourself accordingly. One of the things that I heard another YouTuber that was really great advice was paying attention to the shoes that you're wearing, because if you're going to be on your feet all day, you don't want some soft shoes because those soft shoes can end up hurting your feet. So drivers, leather, I mean rubber soles, those different types of things. If you're on your feet and they aren't thick rubber soles that are going to look more like sneakers, and if they are sneakers, if you're trying to be casually elegant, it's probably not the way to go. Um, if that's the case, then you're going to end up hurting your feet in the long run because those rubber soles are not going to be sustainable in keeping the cushion on your feet the way that they need to be. There's not a lot of cushion in drivers and in the rubber sole loafers, moccasins, things of that nature. So if you're just hanging out, you're gonna be able to get off your feet, relax, kick your feet up for a little second. Those are perfect. But if you're gonna be walking around, you may want some harder sole shoes because they're going to have that separation and that cushion. We'll be talking about the construction of shoes in 2 weeks. Next week we're going to talk about well, actually, we'll probably start the construction next week. So you'll have that. Then you also want to think about where you're going in life because there are social uniforms that you do need to maintain, that you do need to hold on to. And so because of that, you have to pay attention to those places. Listen, I don't care if you work in the tech field and the dress is super casual. You're not looking to be there in a basic capacity, unless that's not your passion and that's not what you want to do, in which case you should be dressing for the things that you want to do. So if you don't see tech being the path for your lifelong ambition, then of course start dressing for the things that you want to do. But if you're vision is for you being in a technical space, even though there may be a lot of nerds there, nothing wrong with nerds, by the way, or, very casually dressed people, that doesn't mean that you have to be. And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be looking to be a step above all the rest of these counterparts because you all may have the same level of intelligence. You guys may be working on the same level, and at some point, some person needs to be a visionary and to set themselves apart. One of the things that I loved about Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs had his own unique style. That turtleneck and those jeans became iconic after a little while because he wasn't afraid to step outside of the box, and it can be something that simple when it comes to your ensemble, but also when it comes to your shoes. But they should always evoke an expression that you can stand on and stand behind. If you're gonna wear sneakers, they should be the most elegant sneakers, and elegance does not mean expensive or super complex. They can be very simple, but they are standing on classic nature with an innovative twist, for instance. So you want to pay attention to those different types of things. The last thing that you're going to want to pay attention to is what you're looking to base your foundational principles on. What are you looking to say when you put these shoes on? A lot of people don't think about that, but that's your foundation. That's where you're going to be expressing yourself to the world. Even if they're not paying attention to it as directly as you think they will, that's where you'll start. That's where you're gonna start engaging people when they look at your feet and they're like, man, he keeps his shoes clean, they look nice, and he is heading somewhere. He's a man who's going somewhere. Literally, they see in your shoes like he's taking the steps to get where he needs to be. So you have to decide what you're looking to communicate. Am I looking to communicate intelligence and smartness with the ability for me to show how many different ensembles I can wear these shoes with? Am I looking to show diversity with my shoes and being able to show several different styles that still show the same type of elegant nature? And am I looking to just be charming and whimsical and my shoes evoke a smile in a very elegant way? All these unique things are still going to set apart your character. So I want you to try that on, see how it fits you, and to really begin to think about how you are going to position your foundation for your style. Because next week we're going to be talking about the construction of both your closet when it comes to your shoes, but also we're going to be talking about the construction of shoes and why that's important. So I'm going to leave you with that. It's Wednesday, middle of the week. Be great. Try that on, see how it fits you. Check out some of my previous videos when it comes to shoes, but check out all the videos because we're here every day and you can review these and leave me some feedback and some comments in the comment box about your thoughts on what you're standing on, what foundation you're creating for yourself. I want to know what you're looking for, what problems you're having, what challenges you're having. There are no stupid questions, no bad questions, so feel free to ask me those. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box. I'll be more than happy to answer them. Lastly, before I go, you know that I believe that dress is nothing more than the expression of a man's state of mind, so you should always dress to express. See you tomorrow. Peace.